The best is saved for last. The village of Cana was alive with the sound of flutes and drums. It was a wedding day, the brightest day in the village. Elian the groom led his bride through the narrow streets, dancing with a heart full of hope. The air smelled of jasmine and roasting lamb, and every neighbor was invited to the feast. It was a celebration of love that was supposed to last for an entire week. But as the sun began to set on the third day of the party, a shadow of worry crossed the kitchen. Silas, the head servant, checked the large clay wineskins and found them light and airy. He hurried to find Elian. "Sir," he whispered, his face pale with concern, "the wine jars are empty. There is nothing left for the guests to drink." Elian stopped dancing, his heart sinking. To run out of wine was a great shame. The feast would have to end in disgrace. Mary, the mother of Jesus, was a guest at the wedding. She noticed the way the music faltered and saw the panic in Silas's eyes. She knew exactly who could help. She moved through the crowd until she found her son, Jesus. Leaning close to his ear, she whispered the 4 words that would change everything. "They have no wine." Jesus looked at his mother with eyes full of mystery and love. "My hour has not yet come," he told her softly, explaining that his time to show the world his true power was still ahead. But Mary didn't argue. She knew the kindness in his heart. She knew that he cared about the joy of this wedding and the feelings of their friends. Mary turned to Silas, who was standing nearby, still clutching the empty wineskin. She pointed toward Jesus and gave the servants a simple instruction that would be remembered forever. "Do whatever he tells you," she said firmly. Silas looked at Jesus, wondering what a carpenter could do to fix a wine crisis, but he stood ready to obey. Jesus walked over to a row of 6 massive stone jars. These jars were used for ceremonial cleaning and were very heavy. He looked at Silas and gave his first command: "Fill these jars with water." Silas was confused. The guests were thirsty for wine, not for washing water. But remembering Mary's words, he beckoned for help. Silas called his friend Talman to help. The 2 servants hurried to the village well, hauling heavy buckets of cool, clear water back to the house. They poured and splashed, their muscles aching from the weight. They didn't stop until the water reached the very top. All 6 jars were filled to the brim with nearly 150 gallons of plain, simple water. Jesus looked at the jars filled with water and then at Silas. "Now," Jesus said, "draw some out and take it to the master of the banquet." Silas dipped a small clay pitcher into the stone jar. As he lifted it out, his eyes widened. The liquid wasn't clear anymore. It was a deep, rich red, glowing like a ruby in the candlelight. The water had become wine. Silas hurried to the master of the banquet and poured a cup. The master took a long sip, and his face lit up with delight. He didn't know where the wine came from, but he called Elian over. "Everyone else serves the best wine first," the master laughed, "but you have saved the very best for last." The wine was richer and sweeter than anything they had ever tasted. The wedding feast continued with more joy than it began. Jesus had provided a superabundance of grace, enough wine for everyone to celebrate for days to come. It was his first miracle, a sign that he had come to bring a new creation and a never-ending feast. Jesus and Mary watched the dancing together, happy that the celebration of love would carry on.